Both of us know it. Nice. So yeah, another live. Today we thought we would talk about sharing.
Yes,
Yeah.
how important is the sharing in our relationship?
And we don't mean sharing in a being generous way in giving. We mean like dropping in and having heart-to-heart talks. And this is something we do not only in our relationship, we do it with friends. We have our best friend, Luciana, yeah, who every opportunity we get, we're going out for lunch or dinner, or as soon as we get a group of friends together, and she's always, let's have a sharing.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically it's just dropping in and sharing what's really present for us in this moment, in our lives, in any area of our lives. So what's going on for me physically, mentally, emotionally, what am I struggling with, what am I, loving at the moment, what's working really well, but just dropping into the truth of what's happening.
Yeah, I think let's start what is a sharing, yeah? How
Yeah.
to create the space for sharing. So when we have the sharings, we really ask each other, ready to have a sharing?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's important that we're both in that space, that we feel like we want to do that. Sometimes we might not, one person might not be in that space, so it's important that we are both
Yeah.
open to share.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you're not in a good moment, you want some time, you need some time, so we do that, we create a space like, no, yeah, okay, ready. It can be at any time, yeah, you can just decide, we just had a sharing today after our breakfast.
Yeah.
So can we have a sharing later? Yes, okay. And then we stop for that, eye contact and creating this safe space that it's okay to share.
No distractions, no telephones, no like halfway between doing things, very present.
Yeah, it's just both of you, or if you have other people around, just but this space that feels safe and that is no judgment. That's very important.
And we have so the guidelines are like, we don't take anything personally, it's just listening to this person share what's on their mind, what's in their heart. We don't have to take it personally, we don't have to own it in any way, it's just listening. And that's the most important part of this, I think, is actually listening. Whoever's, like even if there's a group of 10 of us, we do it. And everyone's present to whoever's talking, whoever's sharing.
Yeah. And be able to listen from the heart space. That's the main point, I guess, in the sharing, because you are also speaking and hearing. So what are you receiving out of it? What it resonates with you? And no judgment is there. So even if it's connect to you, because in a relationship, of course, there will be triggers, there will be things that
I don't do that, what do you mean? I'm not like that.
Then how you do react to that? You have to be open, feel that, okay, I can receive that, even if it hurts, if it makes you uncomfortable, that's safe, it's okay, that's the moment that you have exactly to be there, to receive it and to give it, right?
And that's why we have the agreements, so no judgment, not taking anything personally. And if it helps sometimes, like if you feel like you might hear something that is wounding or triggering, maybe in the beginning you can visualize a bubble of light, whatever light resonates with you. Sometimes I use a bubble of pink light or purple light just around me, like as a shield to protect me, so that I feel safe in my own space and my own energy.
Yeah. And integrate softly, whatever it's coming. If the one is telling you something that, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's safe. It's safe to receive, and it's okay to feel.
Yeah.
Remember that the feeling, it's a temporary emotion. Yeah? As long as you allow yourself to feel it and you face it, it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
So it's very important and very healthy to have this space to allow yourself to feel.
And that's the gift, I think, in doing the sharing, is often we bottle things up, emotions, feelings, triggers, things that we bottle up and we don't voice it. And in the sharing, it's just an opportunity to voice whatever it is. And it can be things that, often things that we don't want to say, that we hide from the other person. But when we hide things from each other, the tendency is like, I hide it and then I create a story around it and I bottle it up inside, and then that creates, like some tension between us without even knowing that it does. So this just gets
sometimes it was something very small that
builds up into a big
it becomes a problem. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, so many people do that, right? I'm sure that everybody knows someone that do that, or you do that. So yeah.
So it's what is suppressed must be expressed. So if we don't verbalize it and express it that way and articulate it that way, it'll get suppressed in, it'll get expressed in other ways. Whatever's suppressed will get expressed in maybe being a bit moody or cold or aggressive or resentful without even realizing that we're doing it.
Yeah,
And sometimes we do realize.
and then comes the healing part, huh?
Yeah.
Because you're voicing it over, and whenever you have this opportunity to even to listen to yourself when you're sharing, that's so incredible. There is a magic that happens when we do that.
Just in saying it out loud.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's safe, I can express, oh, and it's here. And then when you're talking about it, it's like more and more comes, and it's so natural because you're not really just putting it out there. It's coming from this heart space. Yeah, so it's sincere, it's authentic. So yeah, you put it out there, it's like feel free, lighter after
Yeah,
it.
because it's literally lightening the load.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most important things about sharing is the listening, is not being interrupted. So we don't say, like in these times you want to go, oh, but I'm going to speak to that, oh. So we don't interrupt, we don't speak, we let the person completely finish their share. And then at the end, if you feel called, you can ask for permission to give resonance. Can I reflect? Can I give you a reflection on how that was for me? So I don't necessarily need to talk about what Susanna's spoken about. Sometimes I do, but sometimes it's just, wow, what I noticed in me as you shared that. So sometimes I'll notice, oh, well, I noticed I was triggered, or I noticed I felt really sad when you shared that because I didn't know that I did that, so I noticed some sadness pop up in my heart. And it's just giving reflection on how it was for me to hear what she said. Sometimes I'll address, like, wow, when I heard you say this, I felt. So when I hear you say that, I feel something else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the same here. Yeah. So it's super important when you get to know what the other person is feeling, what is hurting, what is not, what is good, what is bad.
Yeah.
Some small things like today we had a sharing about the cell phone in bed. No? So how does this trigger, and how you take out of that moment of intimacy that you can have with your partner by having your phone in bed, things like
It's
this.
super addictive having telephones. I think they're one of the biggest addictions of our times. And if we don't allow space without that in our relationship, I can notice myself. If I notice Susanna will pick up the phone in bed, I notice in me this, like this frustration. Oh, here we go again. Because I know she's disappeared, she'll be engrossed in her phone. But when I voice it to her and I just say, look, I noticed this happening and this comes up. And Susanna, she can take it or leave it. I'm not saying it for her to change that necessarily, but she can go, well, and she said this morning, I noticed that I was doing that. And I noticed that I was, that I was disconnecting as I did that. It was just beautiful to hear that acknowledgement.
It's also important for me to it's real, it's true. I noticed that I'm doing that, and I don't want to do that. So thank you for telling me, because this is a pattern that I don't want to have it anymore. And I'm not the same way. Maybe I'll take my phone for 2 minutes and check everything. It's all.
Yeah, and that's one of the magics I think that happens is problems seem to dissolve, instead of build up. So they dissolve into nothingness rather than into resentment.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so easy when we have a relationship that we can communicate what is in there and create this moment, create this space. It can be every week, it can be and when there is something there, you don't need to have a routine, but you can even create a routine around it. And it's safe for our relationship if we create a space of talk, this moment of sharing, that we can grow together, we can say what's alive in each one at that time, because we are individuals living one story, but no, we have two stories happening at the same time. So how we can communicate that safe way and make the other one understand in the relationship.
Yeah, and often one of the best things actually in sharing, and this is gold in relationships, guys, I use this in my couples coaching all the time, is when Susanna shares something with me, I'll reflect back what I hear you say, and I'll literally say, so what I hear you say is, and then say exactly what she said to me. So I don't filter it, through my own filter, through my own language. I'll say exactly what she says, because the tendency would be to kind of be defensive and share, through my own perception of what she said. But I've already, I've got my own glasses on, my own perceptions of what happens, my own triggers, of how I'll hear things. So I'll say, what I say is exactly what she said. Did I hear you correctly? And then she can say, yes, that was correct, or no, I didn't say that, I said this. So then it's dissolving all of those interpretations of what each other says,
Yeah.
instead of just hearing the truth.
Because there is a tendency, when the other one is speaking, we straight away are thinking about what we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
There's always like, oh, so he's sharing this, so, oh, and I have to protect myself. And we straight away they create that shield of protection, like, so it's the opposite. It's like, relax into it, just be the listener. It's fine, it's safe. And oh, so this is what you were saying, not what the story I'm creating about what you were saying.
What I hear and what you say sometimes are very different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this, and let us know how you go with this. Do it with people that you feel safe, and it's so important to set those parameters, you know, to set the no judgment. The confidentiality is really important. What is shared is not going to be used against you. That's a very important one, because sometimes in relationships we can use things like weaponize things, so use it later on as a weapon. And when we do that, we just erode the relationship. It's so important not to do that. It's so important just to, to hear things without any judgment, without using that at any other time in the relationship. So keeping that space incredibly safe.
And if you're doing this with your partner in a romantic relationship, also acknowledge how much you love the person. Yeah? How this space is safe to share, and even share the love that you have to each other. And what is alive, what is beautiful, what you like, what you appreciate. Remember to thank, because sometimes it becomes just this routine, and we forget to thank each other.
Yeah.
Like, oh, thank you for the breakfast, or thank you for whatever you did. Thank you for filling up my water bottle. The small
Magically
details.
fills itself every
Yes,
time.
mostly. The small details that happen. And it's also important to take this time also to remember that.
Yeah, and you can use things like this. We call it a healthy communication sandwich, where like the first thing you talk about is something positive, and then you talk about maybe something negative or challenging that you wanted to say, and then end it with something positive again. So it's like this healthy sandwich.
Yes.
I like that. Acknowledgement is really important.
Very important. This is what keeps the relationship alive.
And doing this, guys, I feel so much closer, so much more intimate with Susanna. I feel heard, I feel acknowledged. Hopefully it's vice versa, but it deepens this intimacy. And it's the things that we avoid saying because I don't want to hurt the other person, I don't want to upset them or cause confrontation. And when I avoid saying those things, then I'm left with it, creating my own stories around that. When we get to do this, it actually, like we said, lightens the load and keeps us present a lot more. Present to, to the healthy things in the relationship, and like Susanna said, acknowledging the things that we love, but also things that are challenging to talk about. Cool, guys.
Yay! Thank you so much for watching us. I hope it resonates with you.
Any questions, any reflections, let us know how you go with this. I'd be amazed. I love hearing stories and hearing people share these things. So let us know in the comments.
Yes.
And share the video to anyone who you think might benefit from this.
And start practicing it. It's very healthy with your friends, with your partner.
Yeah, so much fun, eh? We go out for dinner, we go out for lunch, and you get to hear what's going on for other people, because we think we're the only ones going through struggles, and when we hear other people talking about similar stuff, it's like, oh my god, it's so refreshing. Yeah. So I love it. It's enlightening and enlivening, and cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.